Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jacob Beck and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. And plenty to do here on this Wednesday. Got JD PicKell of On3 Sports be with us in 15 minutes talking all things college football. It's a What If Wednesday. You can get those into the Bayou Ford chat. For those of you that are filing in there, if you want to hit me on Twitter at HuntPalmer88, you can do that as well. Are the SEC and Big Ten in cahoots for football scheduling? Talk about that at the end of the hour. Cody Rourke covers the Broncos for Locked On Broncos. Sean Payton's return to the Dome tomorrow. We'll talk about it with Cody. And our SEC football power rankings coming up at 2:30. Beck, how are we feeling about said power rankings? You've had, I guess since we last spoke, 22 hours to digest.
Not feeling super great, but I do think
Lack
that
of confidence.
I think you're going to handle the Vanderbilt situation correctly, because you had them at 10 last week, which I was surprised by, even though I believe they deserve to maybe even be higher than that.
They're truly a developing situation.
They really are. I mean, at this point, it's not even a developing situation. It's just a situation.
Well, it'd be a situation if they just had 1 week, but they've been steadily pretty good, which is a developing situation in my estimation. They could win 8 games.
Easily.
Easily, I wouldn't go that far.
I would.
They don't do anything easily.
Anchor down, Hunt. That's all I'm going to say.
They kind of went to Kentucky and won easily. We'll talk about that at the bottom of hour number 2. We start with LSU and Arkansas. Here's the deal. You're driving around or you're watching on YouTube. If you're paying attention to this show, the odds statistically are that you're an LSU football fan. Maybe you're not, but the odds are that you are. And I'm just going to try to get inside your mind here for a second and see if I do a good job of that. When I say LSU and Arkansas, you probably look down your nose. When I say, is LSU-Arkansas a rivalry, you say, no, we don't care about Arkansas. We care about Bama. We care about Florida. That's where your mind probably goes. I'm just guessing, but I feel like it's a rather educated guess. Do you hate Arkansas? You're trying to find some room to hate. You got tons of hate for Alabama. You hate Florida. As of last week, Ole Miss is singing Hotty Toddy during the LSU alma mater. You probably hate Ole Miss. You probably suggest, Arkansas, who cares? That's just my guess, but I feel like it's probably on the right track. And you probably understand that Arkansas does very much hate LSU. That fan base hates LSU. It's a big deal when Arkansas plays LSU in that program. And that's not me guessing. You can take one trip over to hogville.net if you want, and you can read. They don't like LSU any. And Sam Pittman was on the SEC teleconference today, and he spoke about the importance of this rivalry in the Golden Boot and LSU and Arkansas and what it means to that state today.
Anytime you have a long history of playing each other, and the proximity where we're recruiting, against each other, I think that puts a different feel towards the game. And then you throw a trophy in there. Certainly we've talked to our kids. We had a bye week too, so we had a little bit more time, but we talked to our kids about the significance of the history of this game and what it means to the state of Arkansas.
And it does. And you can try to brush that away as an LSU fan, but quite frankly, it's the wrong thing to do. Let me go into these numbers. This is not like one snapshot or a small deal. This is a significant piece of the history of this rivalry. And I'll break it down this way. Let's talk about recruiting and where these two programs rest in terms of talent acquisition. Let's just take the last 6 years. I'm not going over 20 years of recruiting classes. Let's just look at the last 6. Over the last 6 years, do you know how many 5-star recruits Arkansas has hauled in? The answer is none. Over the last 6 years, do you know how many LSU has hauled in? The answer is 11. Even more damning, do you know how many 4-star recruits Arkansas has recruited over 6 years? 32. That's a hair over 5 per class of 4-star players. How many has LSU had in the last 6 years? 85. They've almost tripled the amount of 4-star recruits as Arkansas, and 11-0 in 5-stars. The talent level between these two programs is not comparable. It is never comparable when they step on the field. Let's look at championships. In the last 24 years, LSU has won 3 national championships and played for another one. Arkansas, not even in the zip code. Never. Arkansas last went to Atlanta when I was in college. I was a freshman, 2006. They have never won the Southeastern Conference Championship game. LSU, been there, done that. There is no comparison over the last 20 years. And you want to start going back to the 50s and 60s? Yeah, Arkansas had some damn good teams. Southwest Conference, sure. You want to talk about this era of college football? Arkansas is not even a blip on the radar. LSU's a blue blood. And look at this game year in and year out. Yeah, LSU has won 3 of the last 4. All of them decided by 3 points. Last year, 34-31. Might I remind you, Arkansas sucked last year, and LSU had the Heisman Trophy winner, and it was in Tiger Stadium at night, and it took a miracle for LSU to win that game. 2 years ago, LSU went up to Fayetteville, 13-10. LSU had just beaten Alabama, 13-10 is what it was. Arkansas came into Tiger Stadium 2 years ago, beat you 16-13. The year before that, LSU won it by a field goal, 37-34. Then you have like the Chad Morris years where Arkansas didn't beat anybody. So I'm not really going to count that. Chad Morris literally never won a conference game. He collected all that money up in Northwest Arkansas, never beat anybody in the league. My cat Teeny tied with Chad Morris for SEC wins. 0. But you go back to 2007 through 2015, that's not a small sample size. That's 9 games. Arkansas won 5 of them, LSU won 4. This is not one coach. Not just Les Miles, not just Ed Ogeron, not just Brian Kelly. It's not just Houston Nutt or Brett Bielema, Bobby Petrino, Sam Pittman. It's all up in the air. It's all comparable. This has been a competitive rivalry on the field despite the massive talent advantage that LSU has, despite the massive prestige advantage LSU has, despite the massive differences in the two stadiums. Arkansas gets up for this football game. You want further evidence to this? I will give it to you. How has Arkansas done against Alabama the last 17 years? They are 0-17. They've never beaten them. Further, how about Texas A&M? They recruit 4 and 5 stars. Did they win the SEC? Never. Did they win national championships? Never. But are they better than Arkansas? Are they more talented than Arkansas? Yeah. How's that rivalry going? A&M's won 12 out of 13. Auburn's schizophrenic. They're good sometimes, terrible sometimes. They pop a Cam Newton. They go to the national championship game with Nick Marshall. Sometimes they're awful. They've won 9 out of 12 against Arkansas. Arkansas doesn't play anybody at that talent level the way they play LSU. So you can laugh and jeer and sneer at the boot all you want, and you can look down your nose at Arkansas. And look, I'm sitting here right here. I'm an LSU alum, an LSU grad. I'm an LSU fan. I don't hide from it 1 second. And I told you last week that it made me sick that I had to sit here and give you my honest opinion that Ole Miss had a better football team than LSU last week. That's what I told you all week long. I thought they did. I'm still not certain that LSU's is better, but they sure as hell won on Saturday, and that's all that matters. So I have some of that arrogance and some of that ego as well. It's just in there from success. It just comes with it. But I can also look at the history of this rivalry. I can look at the history of this series and suggest, hey, the dudes in that locker room better get ready to go this week because you're going to show up in a full stadium full of people that do not like you, that are on a mission, that are off a bye week, that are ready to play some football. And if LSU thinks, well, Ole Miss is in the top 5 and Arkansas kind of sucks, just give us the ball. Where do we show up? You will get beat. Because it happens all the time. I'm just going through all this history right here. And I'm not telling you that Jacob Hester and his 2007 team with Matt Flynn and the whole gang underestimated Arkansas. That was a unicorn of a team with 3 guys in that backfield that were stud NFL players. And that's not going to happen at Arkansas ever again, but it did that year. But the point being, you understand you're in for a fight when you play in this game. And I don't care about the golden boot either. They can leave it wherever it is. I care about winning the game. And we talked about this yesterday. If LSU shows up and wins this game, all of a sudden, you're really in an advantageous spot late into October to make a push to the college football playoff. And LSU's good enough to do that. But it's not going to be a walkover on Saturday night. I told you all of August that I thought Arkansas was going to be atrocious. I told you I thought they had no quarterback, talent level's gone, Petrino's not going to rescue them, and they were going to be probably the second worst team in the SEC. They're not. They went to Auburn and won. They played a good A&M team close. They should have won at Stillwater. They manhandled Tennessee and beat them with a backup quarterback. They're not good. They're not great. They're not going to Atlanta. They're not going to the playoff. They can beat LSU on Saturday, and they're going to care to do it. So LSU, it's the first key to this football game is going to be to match Arkansas's intensity. And the guys that I talked to yesterday, Josh Williams, Braden Swinson, Jordan Gilbert, those guys, we asked them, how do you get back up after an emotional win like that? And they all gave the right answer. And the spirits were high, and the energy was good, and it felt like they were ready to go. And I have no reason to believe they won't be ready to go, but I'm just reading you the history here. Arkansas will care a lot on Saturday, and you're going to walk into a stadium that is going to be on fire. And we've seen some SEC teams go on the road this year, and it hadn't gone so hot. So just to lay that out, I like LSU on Saturday right now, but there's some staggering numbers about how Arkansas performs against Bama, A&M, Auburn, and then you look over and you go, well, how do they pair against LSU? Well, about split down the middle, and when you consider the talent differences, that shouldn't be the case. It's a rivalry game to one side, and you need to match that intensity coming up on Saturday. If you're looking for our LSU football content, you can find it on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. Also got some great stuff up right now at LouisianaSports.net. Sam Pittman updated the status of his quarterback. Brian Kelly talked about some of the injuries with LSU on the teleconference. All of that's LouisianaSports.net. Ross Jackson has got some Saints coverage for you. And Charles Handgriff has a great column up right now talking about Sean Payton's return to New Orleans tomorrow and what that means to him as a native South Louisianian who has loved the Saints for a very, very long time. I think it's a great read. So go check that out on LouisianaSports.net if you're in your lunch break currently, or once you stop your car, maybe check that out. Don't read and drive. It's bad look. All right, when we come back, JD PicKell on 3 Sports next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. How's the closet situation at your house? If it's great, awesome. If it's not, do something about it. I've lived that. My wife despised the closet situation in our first home. It was a great home. Closets, not good. We had coats in one room. The guest room was full of stuff. We had her formal wear somewhere. All my coats were in the hallway. We didn't have room in the bedroom for a closet situation. And you said, well, why didn't you call your sponsor, David Duvall, One Bath and Closets? Well, we were going to move, so we weren't necessarily in a hurry to make that happen. We did move, and when we did, we prioritized our closet situation, and it's made a huge difference to my wife. If you don't want to move, to have that relief of more closet space, better use of your closet space, One Bath and Closets is the spot you need to go. David Duvall and his team have been doing it for a very, very long time, and they're happy to help you with it. If you're thinking, don't know if I can pay for that right now, holidays are around the corner, financing options are available. 18 months, 0% interest if you qualify. So get that process started with a free consultation, One Bath and Closets. Check them out online, onebathandclosets.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online.
Hunt Palmer, lover of LSU, Shreveport, and mayonnaise on hot dogs. The Hunt Palmer Show.
Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. That means it's a What If Wednesday. Get your what ifs in the chat, Bayou Ford chat there on YouTube. We'll get to those in the next segment. Right now, let's talk to our guy, JD PicKell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, talking college football, with us every single Wednesday on Jim's Firearms Hotline. JD, how we doing?
Dude, I'm doing great. So this is on me. I didn't know that y'all were on YouTube. That's on me. I didn't know that we were on all the platforms. I mean, that feels like a no-brainer now that I'm saying it out loud, but this is good news. Okay, I'm dialed in. Let's go.
Got to be on YouTube these days. The folks got to visualize. So I'm not necessarily the face that people are looking for on YouTube, but this is all we got to work with. So here we are.
Hey, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Look, it was a good night in Baton Rouge on Saturday. Tigers got home against Ole Miss in overtime. What'd you learn?
I think we just keep seeing this team being the epitome of gritty. Now, what does gritty translate to on the football field in terms of like a win-loss perspective? I don't know. But we keep on seeing LSU be pushed into a corner and then fight their way out. Like the South Carolina game feels very reminiscent in a different way of the Ole Miss game. Multiple spots where LSU could have thrown in the towel or said, you know what, this is too deep of a pit to climb out of. And the Tigers, after everything that was said about them after week 1 and the loss to USC, just continue to battle. I'll also say this, Hunt, 4th and 5, you don't get it. The game's pretty much over. What do you dial up? Something nice and, something easy for your quarterback like hitches, or maybe it's a quick game. You get some slants going. Joe Sloan says dial it up. 4 verts. Taking a page out of my playbook in college football 25. 1, I love the gutsy call. 2, the fact that you trust your quarterback enough in that spot to go 4 verts, and then also to throw it 50-plus times in that game. I think it speaks volumes to what they think about Garrett Nussmeier internally in terms of deliver, man, it's enormous.
Is Ole Miss good?
I think they are. I think Ole Miss is good. I think they rolled in Death Valley at night and found out what Death Valley at night is. And I feel a little bit sheepish here because I was the guy that said, hey, I think Ole Miss is going to be able to overcome that. Foolishly, I thought that. I think Ole Miss is a bit of a case study for us here in what you get if you lean heavily on the portal. I think talent gets you in the door, but making all that talent work together and solidify itself is a whole other equation. And I mean, heck, we saw Oregon the first couple games of the year not be able to put the pieces together super effectively, and they just beat Ohio State, arguably the best roster in college football. So I think the point I'm trying to make here is you can live by the portal so long as you understand what you're getting into. And this is probably something that I think LSU fans will push back on, but like I'd be very curious to see if that game was played on a neutral site field in November. And obviously that wouldn't happen, but like, you know, if that were the variables we're working with here, is Ole Miss, you know, more solidified as a roster? Do they gel together better? Because I think Ole Miss, you can make a case for them being as talented, if not more talented than LSU, and that was a big reason why I think we saw them be a 3.5-point favorite going into Death Valley. So all that's to say, I think Ole Miss is good. I think they're talented. I don't think they've put it together just yet, and we've seen that now on two separate occasions creep up and get them.
By my eye, they looked good to me. I mean, that defense looked really good, especially early in the game. I mean, I expect LSU to throw the ball on just about everybody, and it doesn't bother me that Ole Miss didn't have a sack because I just don't know if a lot of people are going to get to Garrett Nussmeier this year. That's LSU's strength. But they looked like a good football team to me, and they've got the worst record they could possibly have at this point because they haven't really played anybody. It's just an odd deal to see if he can keep them together the rest of the way there in Oxford. But they looked like a good team to me. They just they came up one play short, which I was fine with, quite frankly. Let's go up to Eugene. I didn't get a chance to watch much of it because we were obviously on the field at the same time there in Baton Rouge. But how impressed were you with Oregon?
Dude, first of all, what are we doing with this TV scheduling? Like, why can we not figure out a way to get LSU Ole Miss a big time matchup at a different time slot than Ohio State Oregon? Maybe I'm being idealistic. Oregon, I think. You know, I came away from that game Hunt feeling like, man, we may have just seen the best two teams in college football, and I understand Texas exists, but as much as we want to praise Oregon for winning that football game, and we should praise them, that Ohio State team, once they round into form, and I think they have probably some ground that they can make up on defense because I think the personnel is better than how they played. I wouldn't be shocked in the slightest if we saw that game again for the national championship or for the college football playoff semifinal. Like, I think both those teams answered some really major questions. Oregon, we hadn't seen them play their best game like that all year, and it came at the right time. I think it is now a fact that you can get done what you want to get done offensively with Dylan Gabriel. And a lot of discussion around Dylan Gabriel, and deservedly so. How about Will Stein, the OC for Oregon, just dialing up winner after winner against one of the best DCs in college football in Jim Knowles. So, I mean, I think that deserves a lot of credit because, I mean, Dylan Gabriel hit some throws downfield, but, like, this is a Ohio State secondary that's got NFL dudes all over the place. And Will Stein kept dialing up vertical shots that quite frankly, looked like Ohio State wasn't able to be prepared for. So I think that was massive. On the Ohio State side of things, I think you have your answer on do you have enough in Will Howard to go win a national title. Like, I get the last play is going to be all over social media. I get that we're in the punchline culture where it's fun to dunk on people for silly mistakes. Should he have known where the clock was at? 100%. Like, didn't get down in time, effort played is what it is, charged at the game. But I'm sitting here saying, okay, if Will Howard, if I know I'm getting, call it 80% completion percentage like he did against Oregon and over 300 yards and no picks, granted, there wasn't that review on that one potential interception. Like, Ohio State's going to be a wagon. Ohio State's going to be, just like I mentioned a second ago, right there in the mix for the national title. So it's a long-winded response on both of those games, but came away very impressed with both, and Oregon got a big program-defining win at home.
I get that decisions have to be made and you can't predict the future, but like I can't help but look at Eugene and look at Dylan Gabriel and look at the way that he played in that game, and then look immediately to Dallas and look at an Ole Miss an Oklahoma offense that scores 3 points with a true freshman quarterback, Michael Hawkins, throwing for 148 yards. Like, what happened there, and why were they so antsy to get to Jackson Arnold?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I actually, my opinion on this is solely based on the interview I heard from Will Compton over at Bussin' with the Boys, because they sat down with him in the spring. So take of this as you will. The way that it sounds is all off season, going into the season rather, Dillon Gabriel is like communicating and planning with Oklahoma, like, hey, this is my last year. I didn't get the draft grade I wanted previously, so I'm going to do one more year and then I'm out. So like everyone's on the same page. Hey, he's gone after this year. Great, we're going to pivot from there. Sort of like one of those things where you're staying at your friend's house for a week and then you find out your flight was delayed. Like, you're not going to stay another night. You're just like, okay, I'm going to go figure something else out. You guys clearly have been great to me. Like, thank you. I'm going to pivot. Also, Jeff Levy leaving Oklahoma probably didn't help if there was a pitch to keep Dillon Gabriel. So I don't think this is so much Oklahoma, like, whiffing on keeping DG. I think it was more so a thing like, hey, you had this certain number of days to stay. We appreciate you so much.
It's interesting, and certainly they're hurting there in Norman. How big a loss is that for Lincoln Riley? How big a win is it for James Franklin as Penn State comes all the way back and beats USC 33-30 in overtime?
Oh man. Yeah, that was like the no-win situation for whoever lost that game. Like, there's no sugarcoat. I'll start with Lincoln Riley. The tricky part for them is they got thrown into the most physical conference, arguably next to the SEC in college football, with the defense that was still trying to be pieced together. And the defense is better. There's no argument about that. But the defense is still not at a place where they can compete for winning the Big Ten. And when you have a brand like USC and you have a head coach like Lincoln Riley, that fan base is not going to be engaged unless you're bringing home hardware. And so there's this expectation, I think, intrinsically and just maybe optically with that logo and with that head coach that, like, we're going to go compete for double-digit win season / conference contending kind of years. And right now, with what they have on defense, like, that isn't necessarily something that you can put together. The unfortunate reality is you had one of the better teams in the Big Ten on the ropes, and you let them back up from 14 points. So now that just kind of adds the salt in the wound. It's funny because I don't know that I have like an amazing review about Penn State leaving that game either. And transparently, I was dialed into Redbird for a lot of that game and then kind of flipped back and forth. But the thing to me that's encouraging is like, okay, hey, down 14, we're able to come back. Aller goes for almost 400. Like, Penn State, Hunt, you and I both know this. They're down 14 points a year ago. It's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Like, you might as well just change the channel. So I think you're seeing the motor, you're seeing the progress. Don't love being down 14 to a USC team. Don't love the interceptions, but regardless, they'll take a win. And that game against Ohio State in November in Happy Valley gets all the more intriguing.
Let's move forward to this coming weekend. Sneaky game here because Miami has kind of been on the ropes a couple of weeks in a row. They go to Louisville on Saturday for a morning kickoff. They're a 5-point favorite, but is this the spot where Miami slips up, or are they going to get better and not go up against the ropes against some of these lesser teams?
No, I mean, I think that's the exact right question. Like, the way that I think about it, how much gas emotionally and competitively is like in the tank for Miami? Because I think if you're being idealistic, you can kind of explain away the last two spots. It's like, okay, Friday night, Vatek's a good 2-loss team. You don't take them seriously. Weird things happen on Fridays. Okay, you won the game. Great. 10:30 local kick if you're Miami going to Cal Super Bowl. Awesome. Like, now, though, you got a bye week, got the circadian rhythm back right. You got the chance to hopefully correct everything on tape and have a good week of practice. Like, I'd be surprised if we saw Miami roll out there and look like they did in the first half against Vatek and Cal. But at the same time, whether it's Louisville or whether it's somewhere else on the schedule, I think Miami's going to drop a game. I just don't think they'll drop two, and so I think they'll find themselves in Charlotte with a chance to get a bye through the first round of the college football playoff.
Third Saturday in October, Alabama going to Tennessee. Two teams that were on top of the world a couple weeks ago, not necessarily anymore. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, the difference a month makes.
Yeah.
I mean, September, we were both penciling these teams in as college football playoff teams, and now we're like, gosh, what's up with Bama? Where's the Heupel offense? To me, if Tennessee were to win this football game, it would take something we haven't seen from them in the last couple of weeks or seen from them, period, against formidable competition, which is like anything downfield in the pass game. So a very gettable Alabama defense, but if you're just, all things being equal, I think I trust Milroe. I trust DeBoer. I love, like, the physical giftings of Nico. I love the Tennessee defense, but, like, there's just I've seen what Alabama can be against good competition against Georgia. I haven't seen Tennessee be able to look how they're supposed to look so far this year against anyone with a logo worth anything, that is.
Here comes the big one. Georgia and Texas, top 5 showdown in Austin. Texas a 5-point favorite. What do you think?
It's kind of a similar conversation for me as we had for Alabama, Tennessee. Excuse me. I just think that Georgia's secondary is so vulnerable. I mean, gave up almost 400 yards against Alabama, gave up 300 yards against Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Granted, Mississippi State being an air raid approach, you kind of tilt the scales a little bit and then bulk up the stat sheet that way. But the bottom line here is, I think Sark is just licking his chops. I think Ewers is licking his chops. It's a little bit confusing to see how Georgia's operated this year, because I think we expected them to be a little bit more well-rounded offensively. And they have really just lived and died with how Carson Beck goes, which I get, to some degree, everyone in college football does. But Hunt, they're 56% a throwing the football kind of operation right now. In my mind's eye, I remember Georgia being like a bully ball kind of team, regardless of what the ratio was. It was, we're going to move you up front. We're going to give the ball to our running backs, and we will beat the absolute heck out of you. And then Stetson Bennett will make something happen over the top, and we'll get it to Bowers, whatever. That formula doesn't really seem like it's there right now, going on the road to a Texas team that's hot, that's good defensively, that's good in the trenches, that has, I think, a case for the best quarterback in college football if he's on. It all comes down to if Ewers is on and if he's able to knock off that rust. If he is, I think Texas has a real good shot in this one.
5 seems like a lot of points to me. We'll see what my pick is come Friday, but that seems like a lot with Georgia. That seems significant. I just did a whole segment to start my show about how Arkansas plays LSU really, really well and doesn't really play anybody else really, really well. This is a big spot for LSU coming off of the Ole Miss win at home. You go on the road. Arkansas is off a bye. Tricky spot for the Tigers?
Tricky spot for the Tigers. I'm really curious where Taylor Green's at. Are you hearing anything on his health? Because if he can go,
Sam Pittman said today he said he's practicing. He's not quite full speed. But they think he might be able to get there. So my guess is he plays and he's 90%.
Yeah. Okay. So that was kind of where my assumption was, because if he's not Taylor Green, the Taylor Green that can take off and get you a home run on the ground. I think that's massive for LSU. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. I've seen LSU be incredible defensively on the defensive line, but at the same time, I have Lenora Sellers up the gut on the quarterback, I guess, inverted option against LSU and Willie B. Now, I think Taylor Green's probably, when healthy, a more dynamic athlete than Lenora Sellers. I know Jackson Dart, even with the sacks that he had against LSU, still ran for 20-something yards on the ground on 15 carries, which I don't know how that all works out. The bottom line is, the thing that concerns me if I'm LSU is the quarterback design run stuff, because they've struggled with that, it seems like. But overall, I think that this LSU team is actually finding their stride. I think that Ole Miss win will kind of bolster them a little bit. I like the Tigers in this one.
Yeah, they're getting better. We'll see if they can pay it off here. You got 2 on the road before the bye week, before Bama. You got at Arkansas, and then you're at A&M next week, which is going to be really difficult. But they're in a good spot right now. We'll see if they can pay it off on Saturday night. He is J.D. PicKell, host of The Hard Count. Subscribe up to the On3 YouTube channel. Check him out for your college football content each and every day. He's with us on Wednesdays. Thanks, J.D.
Always a pleasure. Go Tigers.
It's What If Wednesday coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Audio Video Security Solutions, AVSSLA.com is the website. Always want you to check out their Instagram feed. It's right there, AVSS_BR. They put some great videos up that show some of the capabilities that they have. I know folks like me, a lot of folks out there, not necessarily super savvy with tech and what's possible with audio, video, and security. They know it all right there at Audio Video Security Solutions, and they can help you with your home entertainment system. They can help you wiring the speakers out in the backyard or out by the pool if that's something you're interested in. If you've got an outdoor kitchen and you want some sound out there, and all of it's so easy to control right there at the push of a button on your phone. They also handed off a security system at the Palmer house. I can arm the burglar alarm. I can disarm the burglar alarm remotely right there from the app on my phone. If you're looking for any and all of that, you can check it out at Audio Video Security Solutions. They're online at avssla.com. People's Choice Award winner, best vendor at the Parade of Homes earlier this year. Fantastic people, fantastic to work with. Call Mitchell Fisher, 225-439-7920. Again, that's 225-439-7920. Check them out online, avssla.com.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show. Hopefully Hunt remembered to bring his laptop charger. Nah, there's no chance.
No laptop charger today. We got 3 hours and 3 minutes.
Well, I
can drive to Shreveport with this bad boy.
I gotta
type
stop
it all the way.
I gotta stop playing that drop so early in the show. I need to start playing it later because that's when it really gets dicey for you.
You know, sometimes you got to live dangerously, back.
Yeah, that's because Hunt Palmer is definitely the epitome of living dangerously.
I take some risks now and then.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't ever take it.
No, you don't. You're the opposite of risk.
Sometimes you don't have the charger, but we got it today. We don't have a phone charger down here today. We're not looking great on phone battery. 34%.
Well,
I think we're gonna be okay.
And I'll be all right.
But sometimes you got to run up and grab a few chargers. It's all good. Let's play What If Wednesday.
Space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
Oh, all right, first one here. What if you could set the worldwide temperature permanently?
Oh, so I'm like setting it for everybody and it never moves.
I guess so.
I mean, the conventional wisdom for like day-to-day activity and living is like, well, I want it to be like 63 and put on a light jacket. But then like, I can't go to the pool or like you can't do anything in like real. I like some of the hot weather activities. Like I don't ever need it to be 28 and snowing. Like that didn't do anything for me. My wife loves it because she can turn the fireplace on and watch a movie or something. Like, you can do that when it's hot outside.
You can.
I guess I'm just gonna. I mean, I like going to the beach too. Like that's a great. But I guess I'm just gonna have to set it at 60, and I'm just gonna go to the beach in a pullover. Like that's what we're gonna do.
Obviously,
like, I'm just not gonna be able to go swimming, I guess.
Obviously, there's a lot of problems with this prompt because if you set the worldwide temperature at one temperature everywhere, it would probably cause some issues in terms of.
We're not talking about that. We're just gonna talk about living.
Yeah, we're just gonna talk about living.
Work off activities.
I would probably go like 65. Maybe 68, something like that. No humidity, I guess we're assuming as well. No humidity, 65, 68, I think is perfect.
I honestly think my dad would put it at 90.
90?
I think he would put it at 90.
You're the text him and see what he says.
I'll see. He sometimes he listens, so he might say. I think he would put it at 90.
That's absurd.
He hates the cold. He just wants it to be warm.
Even 80 is not cold. Even 80 is hot, and it's not even close to being cold.
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, like if I could pick my golf weather, like the golf weather I played
70.
in Northern California when it was like 58, 61.
That's not bad.
I mean, you're moving and you got a jacket on, like that's all good. But again, like I love the summertime activities. I love getting in the lake, riding the jet ski, going swimming, all that kind of stuff. And you're kind of, I mean, I guess you could put on a wetsuit or something, but is that even the same?
No, it's not, I don't think. But let's move on to the next one here. What if Nick Saban had left Michigan State and instead of coming here, he went to Arkansas and coached there for 20 years?
I think he would have turned them into a national power. I don't know.
I mean, it's just hard to obviously.
He's got to get the guys. He got here and there's Marcus Spears, Michael Clayton,
Louisiana,
Marquise Hill, and he just went and got all those guys, and that would be tougher at Arkansas. It's a tougher sell. But once he got those guys and he did win. He could then, I mean, you've heard those pitches online where he's talking about, well, I had this guy, and they practiced against each other for 3 years, and they were both top 8 picks in the draft. You want to do that? Come on. And then it's not autopilot because it's not, but like to an extent, it's a lot easier. The skids are greased at that point. But I think he would have found a way at Arkansas with that money and those facilities to start recruiting. It may have taken longer. He got to LSU in 2001 and 03. But I think he would have turned them into a power. And I guess the point here is like you're playing Arkansas this week and like what's possible with that program if you get the best coach. I think he would have eventually done it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in that, and then when you in that exercise, I think then it's like, okay, well, where obviously, if he goes to like a MAC school or he's not going to win a national championship, then it becomes like, what's the lowest level he could have went and still succeeded?
That's another question. I'll answer. I think he could have won at,
like, let's just say Mississippi State.
Yes. Oh yeah, for sure. Down here.
Yeah, that's true.
In that where those kind of players are available.
Maybe
yes,
Missouri.
You got to realize at Mississippi State, Bama doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And neither does that LSU. He didn't turn. I mean, LSU might be waffling.
I guess I'm trying to think of what's
West Virginia.
Yeah, or maybe like Missouri.
I think he does it at all those places.
Yeah.
I think he was that good at coaching in that area. Once it got to basketball on grass and you could Joe Burrow and Josh Heupel him, or Hendon Hooker him, like it took a hit defensively, but like he would have been elite defensively and could have gotten that out of a lot of programs. It was just faster at LSU and Alabama than it would have been. By the way, reporting in from my pops, 85 is what he would set the temperature.
That's not as bad as 90, but I mean, still, that's just that's a lot. That's a lot to. All right, next one. This one will be interesting. What if I offered you a 2024 college football playoff berth as the 9 seed, or a guaranteed spot in the men's Final Four?
Okay, so if I'm the 9 seed, I'm on the road playing the 8, and then I would play the 1.
Yep.
Is that right? No, that's not right.
Well,
no. It's 8, 9, and then I would play, because the first 4 get a bye. I don't know the bracket yet.
Yeah.
So you've got 5 playing 12, 6 playing 11.
Well,
7 playing
you would
10,
8, 9,
8 playing 9.
Yeah, and then you go to 1. And
I would
you
play
would
the
1.
Yeah, I would play the 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is how it works. So that's good that you're in the playoff, and that'd be an incredible scene at Penn State or whatever we're talking about here. And then you got to go play Oregon or Ohio State or Texas or Georgia, I guess. That's enticing. I'm interested. I would love to see LSU in the Final Four. I don't know if this team is constructed this year is going to be a force in the Final Four, but you never know when you find Florida Atlantic in the Final Four, or you find VCU in the Final Four, and you gotta fight and shot.
South Carolina made it that
year.
Yeah,
they made it. Yeah, for sure. I so desperately want LSU to get back to a Final Four because that's just something that we don't do. And I've seen the football, but I'm not going to be contrarian here. I'm not going to blow smoke. I would take the 9th seed.
Yeah, I think I would take the Final Four. I know a lot of people are going to be, oh wow, you're crazy. Why would you ever do that? I just think that making the Final Four,
it's 3 weeks of like delirium.
Yeah,
because you win the first weekend, then you win the second weekend. You're building up to the third weekend. Like that's fun.
I think it just validates Matt McMahon as a coach for LSU, and also just elevates the program.
That is a great point. That I didn't extrapolate it out that far.
Yeah,
to go,
yeah. I was thinking about that.
But that means like we might really have something here.
Yes.
Now that might change the math, but I'm kind of looking for that for Brian Kelly too. So I'll stick with my answer.
All right, next one here. What if Rita Benson had won her lawsuit?
So she kind of steps in for Gail. I don't know every I and T of that entire thing, but I know that essentially Tom kind of angled it and Gail got more than Rita. But I don't know exactly what the deal is. I don't know that it's a huge deal. I don't know her personality. I kind of have a feel for what Gail's is, but because Rita's been in the background, I don't know exactly what she's like. My gut tells me probably not a massive difference in the New Orleans Saints, but then again, we do know that ownership does make a big difference, so it certainly could. I don't shut the door on the possibility that there could have been change, but I don't know enough whether or no. I don't think the Saints would have moved or anything. I just think it could potentially look a little bit different.
All right, I got one more here. What if Whit Weeks was ejected for targeting versus Ole Miss?
Oh, man.
And we kind of talked about it a little bit.
I mean, you had to get that stop, force him a field goal at the end to allow yourself to go get the touchdown. He was the best defensive player on the field. You might not win that game. And then I don't want to go into a game where I think Arkansas is going to run it a good bit, not having him. And then you got Greg Penn, and you're probably going to have to put a freshman in there because West Weeks is now redshirting. So, like, that's not good. We do not need Whit Weeks to get a targeting at all anytime. So I think it might cost you 2 games, honestly. So it already didn't cost you 1. We'll see how things shake out coming up on Saturday. That's it for What If Wednesday. Come back and close out hour number 1 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. When you think Genesis, you should think luxury. It is absolutely a luxury line of vehicles. When you think luxury, don't automatically rule yourself out. That can't. Well, just try. Give them a try, Airline and Piku. Stop by the dealership. Let me tell you, this dealership is first class all the way. Their sales ambassador team is phenomenal to work with. It's a pressure-free sales experience. You're going to feel like a guest, not a customer. And if you do purchase that Genesis and you go in for maintenance, I've never seen a service aisle this nice. The coffee machine is huge and incredible looking. They got snacks everywhere. The furniture's awesome. They've got a rock waterfall fountain, the cleanest service station I've seen. It's an experience over there at Genesis of Baton Rouge. Get on by and check out their line of vehicles. It's phenomenal. Safety, incredible. The look is fantastic. The drive is exceptional. It's a fantastic line of cars. You may not have considered a Genesis because they've only been around at that location, Airline and Piku, for a little over a year. Try them out when you're in the market for a new vehicle. Every car on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Genesisofbatonrouge.com. That's my friends at Genesis of Baton Rouge.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has back-to-school savings like $16,000 off 25 Ram 1500 trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $16,000 off. All new Bayou vehicles come with a complimentary extended warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property, so retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Folks over at D1 Baseball, Aaron Fitt, Kendall Rogers, Mike Rooney, Joe Healy, Mark Etheridge got together and put their collective brain power together to come up with the programs in the best shape in terms of moving forward in college baseball. And they put a top 100 together, ranked them, and 8 SEC teams made the top 10. Tennessee, Florida, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, A&M, Mississippi State, Texas, and LSU, joined in the top 10 by Virginia and Florida State. Incidentally, guess I'm burying the lead there, LSU number 1 by this group. They said they awarded points for making regionals, winning the College World Series, reaching the College World Series. And they also looked at some things from 6 to 10 years ago as well, talked about facilities, talked about scholarships and funding, and LSU came out on top. And that's not a big surprise. Obviously, LSU stumbled out of the gates. That'd be kindly phrasing it last year in SEC play when you start 3-12 in the league. But Tennessee comes right after LSU, which is just wild to think about because really most of my teenage to college to young professional life, Tennessee was just a doormat in the SEC. I realized they were great in the Chris Burke years, but they were awful most of the time. And now Tony Vitello showed up there and made them into a power, a consistent power, national champions now, and they're obviously not looking to slow down anytime soon. You've seen big jobs open, and Tony Vitello hasn't left, so feels like he's going to be there for a little bit, and they're going to be pretty good for a little bit. But LSU is as well. You can go to lsusports.net or d1baseball.com and read this ranking. But point stands that LSU's in really, really good shape from a baseball perspective. I know that last year was disappointing to start the way that they did in league play and then to get to the postseason and come up a couple of innings short. But that doesn't mean that the program's in bad shape. The program's in great shape. And as long as Jay Johnson's there, he understands how to put a roster together year over year. The one last year just took a little bit too long to come together. But by the time the end came, they were really good. Like, they could play with everybody at that point. They just came up a tick short at Chapel Hill, and maybe they came up just a little bit short because Christian Little got hurt in Hoover. Like, that may have been the ultimate difference. Maybe you don't see the ridiculous effort that you got. Now I can't even remember his name. Will Helmers. I couldn't even come up with his name. Maybe he didn't even get the chance because Christian Little's out there instead of Helmers, but maybe that was the one difference that was made. But LSU has got great facilities for the players. They've got everything's set up from an NIL situation. They're recruiting exceptionally well. The brand is really, really strong, and they're going to be in good shape. It's not just me, the homer guy, sitting here in Baton Rouge saying it, talking about some guys who are very much unbiased in that way with Fitt, Rogers, Rooney, Healy, and Etheridge from D1 Baseball saying, hey, they're as good as anybody at this point. That's a comforting feeling. They're out there playing fall ball right now. If you want to check them out, that starts on Friday. You can also see them Saturday and Sunday this week as well. So if you're looking for a schedule, just go to the website lsusports.net or check out LSU Baseball on Twitter. They'll get you a schedule, and all the scrimmages are available to the public. The gates open like 10 minutes before. You can bring your own food and beverages in and watch a little baseball. I always enjoy it, and the weather's real nice right now, so get out there and see some Tiger baseball. We're going to pause for Sports Center. When we come back, let's preview the Denver Broncos. We'll chat with our guy Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos. That's next on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa have been running Boudreaux's for 40 years down there in Napoleonville. Give yourself the peace of mind of knowing that you're not going to lose power when that storm rolls through. Could be talking about a hurricane. We know those are inevitable down here. It's been a reasonable 3-year run, but you know that next one is always on the way. Or it could be just one of those nasty afternoon summer showers that comes through and knocks the power out. I'm talking baseball there. Paul Skeens' Omaha debut against Tennessee Vols. My power went out on a Sunday afternoon because one of those storms rolled through, and I didn't have a generator. That's a problem. Don't let that happen to you. Call the folks at Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Every single generator they sell you comes with a 7 to 10 year warranty. A 7 to 10 year warranty on every generator they sell you. Give them a call at 985-397-1562 or 225-300-9389. Or you can check them out online. It's boudreauxelectrical.com. boudreauxelectrical.com.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Savor game day platters and snacks, plus drink specials at 1717 Kitchen and Cocktail. So come out for game day and let our team make you the MVP. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. New Jets receiver Devontae Adams expected to play Sunday night in Pittsburgh. He missed his final 3 games before the trade with Vegas with a hamstring injury. Despite having far better numbers with men on base this postseason, Shohei Ohtani will not be moved down the Dodgers lineup against the Mets tonight in Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. He'll stay in the leadoff spot. Manager Dave Roberts confident he'll find his groove again soon. ESPN MLB analyst Jessica Mendoza.
He has to be able to make that adjustment. It's almost like waiting an extra click. If you watch his front side, it flies open, but he has that ability to still bring the backside and hit the ball. The Mets have done a great job, though, of staying middle of way. But for Shohei Ohtani to make those adjustments, he has to just wait a click longer to see the power that we've seen from him all season long.
Game 3 NLCS, 7:30 Eastern ESPN Radio Series is 1-1. Yankees lefty Nestor Cortez could possibly return for the World Series if they advance. He's been out with a flexor strain in his pitching elbow. WNBA Finals, Liberty and Lynx meet in Game 3 tonight, 8 Eastern, ESPN.
Here's one stat that's super simple to remember. Discover automatically doubles the cash back on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. With Discover, you could turn $150 cash back to $300. See terms at discover.com/credit card.
Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half that work week in the rear view mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us. We are officially working towards the weekend. It's a football weekend down here in South Louisiana. Actually gets started a little bit early. Saints and Broncos from the Dome, Thursday night football. And as we know, it's going to be a super emotional evening in that Dome. Obviously, people in New Orleans not over the moon with the way things have gone with the Saints the last month. That's going to show up on Thursday night. Sean Payton also going to show up on Thursday night. Drew Brees also going to show up on Thursday night. And all those factors at play are going to be very, very interesting to see what the energy is like inside Caesars Superdome. We'll see, but it's going to be a football game between the Broncos and the Saints. We're going to talk about that with our guy Cody Warwick from Locked On Broncos. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Cody, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing quite well. Does anybody in Denver care that Sean Payton is coming back to the Superdome?
We were wondering that yesterday at practice because obviously it was our only chance to go see practice. Obviously, his teams are coming off Sunday. You only get one practice, and then you do a walkthrough. They're heading to New Orleans tonight. We were asking that question. There were a couple of Broncos reporters that ended up going to New Orleans to try to do a story. And we asked the question, is there really anybody in Denver who cares about Sean's homecoming? Probably not, but obviously it's a story that kind of ties the two together. I know when Peyton returned to Indy, it was big for Broncos fans. I'm not sure it's the same magnitude, though, when it comes to a head coach versus a Hall of Fame quarterback.
You know, it's interesting you say that. I think it might. I mean, I think Drew Brees is more beloved in New Orleans, but this franchise for its entire history has been a joke, except for the blip that Sean Payton took the reins for 15 years. And that's definitely going to be a heavy on people's minds, especially considering the fact that the guy that took his place, Dennis Allen, may be on his way out in short order if things continue the way that they are. It's going to be a really emotional night inside the Superdome on Thursday. How do people in Denver feel about Sean Payton?
Look, I think some people are rubbed wrong by Sean because, you know, Sean's no nonsense. He's down to business. I know some reporters here, you know, I think they get frustrated by him, but, you know, I think the reality is, and what I've learned just by being around Sean, he's always been great to me. just don't ask dumb questions. Like, don't ask questions that we know he's not going to answer. Like, that's the thing I always try to tell people. Like, the one thing Sean's not going to answer to us, he's not going to tell us about injuries. He's not going to give away anything that has anything to do with strategy or formations or anything like that, tendencies. So, but I don't know why people keep asking those same questions, knowing he's not going to give us an answer. So, I mean, I've had nothing but great experiences for Sean. I think Broncos fans, they like Sean. I think they're a little frustrated with how the offense has played since he's been here as the head coach, but I think there are so many moving pieces. It's not where it needs to be just yet. But he helped snap the streak to the Chiefs and the streak to the Raiders a couple weeks ago. That's something, I think is very big in the eyes of the fan base.
Yeah, it was a little bit bumpy start this year with Bo Nix, a rookie under center, but things have been a little bit better as far as the team goes the last month. What's been the improvement and why have they rattled off a few wins?
Well, they've gotten off slow starts in the first half, but they've been able to get off to a little bit of a more efficient second half performance. Defensively, they've been really good through the first 5 weeks. Week 6, there was the one game where the defense was kind of having a letdown. They couldn't get off the field on third down, and there was a game where they needed the offense to help them out. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that. I would say the story for them, Bo Nix has been protecting the football, and, coming off the win against the Raiders, he had 3 total touchdowns there. There's just some inconsistencies with the offense right now, but Bo's protection of the football has been a big reason that they've been winning games, but the defense, the way that they've been playing, has pretty much kept them, even though the offense has struggled, has kept them in every game. So that's been a promising development, but they need the offense to start carrying their weight a little bit more.
What would you say the identity of the Broncos offense is right now?
Undefined at this point. I would say they don't know that just yet. They're trying to figure that out. And the biggest thing is early down efficiency. They're not very good at that right now. First down, they struggle. They sometimes either gain 1 yard or they go backwards 1 or 2 yards, or if you have a penalty. And then from that point forward, it makes it to where they have third and unmanageable situations for them, and they're not executing those at a high rate. So that's really defining this offense right now, and really it's the little details that are causing the biggest issues here for Denver. They got a couple of injuries on the offensive line. Mike McGlinchey, they just opened up his window to return from IR. I doubt he plays on Thursday night, considering he hasn't practiced yet. I mean, he was at the walkthrough yesterday, but that was his first day doing on-field stuff with the team. So I think so much of this is trying to figure out how to keep everybody healthy and try to find a way to run the ball. I think if they're going to find an identity, everything will open up the moment they can find a way to consistently run the ball and produce positive yards, which they haven't been able to do so at a consistent rate.
I saw McGlinchey was able to walk through yesterday. Pat Surtain, concussion, did not practice yesterday. Any update there? I haven't seen anything today. Forgive me.
Yeah, no, he's not going to play this week. He's going to be out. He'll more likely return next weekend against the Carolina Panthers. So you're going to see Jaquan McMillan, Riley Moss, and veteran Levi Wallace get a majority share of the reps at cornerback this week, obviously in place of Pat. I mean, that's a big loss, but as things are trending as well, I know for the New Orleans side, no Olave, no Rashid Shaheed, those are also big counterpoints there. But, it's Thursday Night Football. Anything crazy can happen.
There's no doubt. The Saints are a mass unit offensively, and they've obviously got Spencer Rattler under center. Broncos' defense has been very, very good. What do you think their approach is going to be against the Saints offense?
I think a lot of it's going to be trying to contain Alvin Kamara, which obviously that's a challenge. The one thing I think the Saints looked at on film this week, they saw that the Broncos gave up a wheel route for a touchdown to a Chargers running back last week. And if anything, I'm looking at that and saying, hey, why not try to get that to Alvin Kamara, get an isolate one-on-one against Cody Barton, the inside linebacker, try to get a little bit of a rub there and get Kamara free. That's been a play that's hurt the Broncos twice this season through the first 6 weeks. So that might be something the Saints look at. But I think for them defensively, if they get a young quarterback in there and Spencer Rattler who can make, a wide variety of different throws, he can get outside the pocket. He's elusive in that nature, but you have to find a way to, either bring him down, like sack him, or more so force him out of the pocket, but also take away his lanes to run there. Denver, I think their contain this year has been really good in terms of their outside linebackers, especially against some athletic scramble quarterbacks. But you're just going to have to be there to try to get pressure on Rattler, and then your defensive backs have to be in position to make plays, especially if that pressure gets home. You look at Nick Bonito, one of the Broncos starting outside linebackers, he got a sack in 4 straight games, the first Bronco to do so since Von Miller. So they're looking to continue to build that streak and get after the quarterback.
I'm looking at the Broncos road slate late in the season at Baltimore, at Kansas City. Still got to go to Cincinnati as well as Los Angeles to play the Chargers, the Chiefs at home a little bit later. Like, there's some really tough football games in the back end of the schedule. How big is this one at New Orleans before kind of a semi-long week and you get Carolina coming to Denver?
Yeah, it's huge, and Denver's really kicking themselves. They couldn't win at home last week against the Chargers because of the stretch that you mentioned that is coming up. Carolina, they're one of the worst teams right now. You never overlook a team like that. The Raiders did that and then got embarrassed at home by, obviously, Andy Dalton and company.
Yeah.
But they crucial. This is a huge game. The tough part about it is that it's coming off such a you need to find a way to get your fourth straight win. And that's something that Sean Payton's talked about all week long. And, he said, forget all the stuff about me going back to New Orleans. He said, we're trying to figure out how to win our fourth game. And look, most of the sports books had Denver at 5.5 wins this year. I mean, the fact that they're 3-3 right now is a little bit of a surprise. So they're exceeding expectations. If they get a win on Thursday, that'll be huge for them. But as you mentioned, the road gets tougher for them down the second half stretch.
He's Cody Rourke, Locked On Broncos, giving us a look at Sean Payton's team that'll come in for some Thursday night football tomorrow. Cody, thanks so much for the time.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
It's going to be a crazy one. It's just hard to imagine me to sit here and go, look, you're looking at an offensive line that's all banged up and no Olave and no Shaheed. I realize we're not supposed to talk about injuries, but you don't have a quarterback, your two top wide receivers to your offensive line. You're basically just playing the backup unit, and that's a good Broncos defense. So that's going to be a tall order for Clint Kubiak and the New Orleans Saints. We'll break that game down kind of in its entirety coming up tomorrow. But Beck, I'll just go that's a gauntlet on the road that Denver's going to be playing here. I mean, at Baltimore and Kansas City might be the best two teams in the league, and you're playing both of those two teams away from home. You still got to go to Los Angeles, who just beats you on your home field. You still got to go to Cincinnati, who I don't think is terrible. And then you still got to play the Chiefs. They've got some that are very winnable, like Carolina at home. Vegas, I don't think is great, and they should win against Cleveland at home. But there's some real action on this Broncos schedule.
Yeah, there certainly is, man. It's not going to be easy for Sean Payton in Denver, considering the division he plays in, and the AFC is just pretty stout all around. So yeah, I mean, I think if he can get this team to 8 or 9 wins, it'll probably be viewed as a decent, solid start. Depending on how Bo Nix continues to develop, but yeah, that's a tough stretch. Whereas opposed to the Saints, who actually have a lighter, latter half of the season. Not that it seems like it's going to matter, unfortunately, especially if they lose tomorrow. We'll see.
We'll break it down in its entirety tomorrow. Here's some sound from Dennis Allen. We'll have a practice report up with attendance from Ross Jackson. That's obviously at LouisianaSports.net. That's obviously a huge story here. Is who can they get available and ready to go? So maybe hint on that before we get to the end of the show. My SEC football power rankings coming up in 15 minutes. When we come back, the SEC and Big Ten are chatting about scheduling. What does that mean for the future of college football? I've got my thoughts. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. Jonathan Carbo and his team right here in Baton Rouge. They're as good as it gets. I've had a couple of long conversations with Jonathan about insurance, and obviously spent 7 years doing that and know the good and the bad of what's in that industry. And in my experience, the bad has generally been going with the guy who says, hey, I can save you 18%, and not knowing where that 18% in savings is coming from. Well, yeah, if you cut out some coverages, you can save some cash. And you've got folks in the industry that'll look to do that and just hope that claim doesn't come and it's not covered. That is the nightmare. As a business owner, if you don't know exactly what's in that policy language, and I've looked at them, they're long. Policies are long. GL policies are long. EPL policies are long. Property policies can be very, very detailed. Auto insurance can be complicated. If you're a business owner and you just want to worry about running your business and let somebody else handle the ins and outs of your insurance, Highland Insurance Group's where you need to be. They should be a trusted part of your team. You trust your attorney when things go south. You trust your CPA to make sure everything's on the up and up. Trust your insurance broker to make sure the correct insurance is in place. And the Highland Insurance Group can do that. EPL, crime, cyber, D&O, umbrella, all these lines of coverage you may need, but you may not understand exactly what they do. Jonathan Carver and his team do. They can help you with it. They can also do employee and group benefits as well. They can be your one-stop brokerage for all things insurance. Check them out online at HighlandIG.com. That is the Highland Insurance Group.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Congratulations to Cecil Thomas from St. Francisville. Cecil is the Week 7 winner in our 2024 College Football Pick'em Contest and wins a Hooters wing party for 10 people. Don't forget to make your picks for Round 8 by tomorrow, Thursday at noon. Weekly winners will receive a Hooters wing party for 10 people, and the first place season-long champion will receive a 75-inch 4K flat-screen TV and soundbar plus free Hooters wings for an entire year. It's the 2024 College Football Pick'em presented by Hooters.
Well, Dan Lanning does not have a conference championship to his name as a head coach, nor a national championship, but he can put this feather in his cap. He made him change the rule book, and they did it pretty quickly. Yahoo Sports, Ross Dellinger and the team there have uncovered a new rules interpretation that's going to be plugged into the rule book. I don't know when it's going to be put in place, but probably pretty quickly here, where if you are flagged for an illegal participation inside the last 2 minutes of the game, the offense can choose to have the game clock reset back to the snap time. So it's an easy fix. Obviously, Oregon threw a 12th man out there to try to prevent a big play on 3rd and 25, and we're able to do that. And the clock took 6 seconds, ticked off the clock, and obviously Ohio State ran out of time, and they're not going to let that happen anymore. So that's going to be a quick fix for them. No big deal there, but that'll be what the rules are moving forward. What could be a big deal is the meeting that went on in Nashville last week. Ross Dellinger reporting from Yahoo yesterday saying that there was a joint meeting between the SEC and the Big Ten, and the commissioners are openly acknowledging that they're looking at a scheduling partnership and that it is expected to happen at some point. This is very obvious. This was always going to happen. And what this is going to do is that it's going to take away LSU versus Grambling, and it's going to take away LSU versus Nichols, and it's going to take away LSU versus ULM. And LSU is going to go play Purdue. And they're going to go play Michigan State, and Michigan State's going to go play Florida, and Florida's going to play Minnesota, and that's what this is going to look like in time. I don't know the extent of the agreement, if it's 1 game a year, if it's 2 games a year, if eventually it becomes to all games, because how do you create the superpower? Well, you take the Big Ten and you take the SEC and you put their schedules together, and then you say, here's what we got, television networks, get your wallet out. And that's where the biggest payday is going to come in. Because an SEC contract, independent of the Big Ten, and a Big Ten contract, independent of the SEC, if you add those two numbers together, it is smaller, in my estimation, than a contract that includes both of them and none of the G5. The most money the SEC and Big Ten could possibly get is to create a television deal that includes only SEC and Big Ten games exclusively and has all of them. At that point, you can sell half of it to Fox and a quarter of it to Disney and a quarter of it to Amazon or whatever. But it doesn't mean one network has to come with all the money for it. You can parse it out. But you become as strong as you can be together. And I have been candid with you on this from the start. I'm not smart enough to tell you what that means for Louisiana Tech's baseball team. I don't know what that means for Wichita State's basketball team. I don't know what that means for Georgia Southern basketball, Georgia Southern football, Georgia Southern tennis. I don't know. I know that those schools and athletic programs do count on those dollars that they get from playing these football games where they lose 66-0. Tennessee Chattanooga goes up to Knoxville. It's 70-0. Here's your check. Okay, this helps with expenses. When that goes away, I don't know. And I do have sympathy for the college athlete who isn't necessarily a Power 5 athlete but wants to continue playing and wants to get an education because they can play at a lower level. Like, that's always been a vital part of collegiate attendance. Scholarships for people in athletics. And if those teams go away because those programs can't be funded, like, that's a negative. And I'm willing to sit here and admit that. But I'm also going to talk out of the other side of my mouth and go, man, this is going to be really cool when the SEC and the Big Ten get together and they're playing each other. Because it's just more interesting. It's more compelling. And I don't feel like the only way to watch college football and have it be compelling is for the national champion to go 12-0. Y'all well know that. I'm okay with the national champion going 8-3, 8-4. And then getting hot, if they can do that. And once you wipe these games away where everybody's winning 3 guaranteed every year, well, you start to look more like the NFL, where teams with losses make the playoffs. Because just mathematically, if you take Ole Miss's schedule, where they're playing horrendous teams the entire month of September, and you take Ohio State's schedule where they're playing horrendous teams the entire month of September, and you make them play each other, one of them's losing. That I can promise you. I am smart enough to figure that out. And if you make Ohio State play Ole Miss, and then they've got to play USC, and then they got to play Florida, well, teams are losing. All of a sudden, you take the 7 losable games you had, and you make it 11. And I think that's more interesting. I think it's more fascinating. And I think it'll be a net positive for the viewer. And I am the college football viewer. Maybe it will be a negative for collegiate lacrosse players. Maybe it's a negative for college hockey players. Maybe it's a negative for the women's tennis team. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe they figure out a way to make this work. But that's not my job. I don't know how that happens. But this is not an if. The Big Ten and the SEC are going to get together and make this happen. I don't know when. I do know that it's going to happen. Because for the last 25 years, every single solitary decision we've made outside of one has been about money. Everything has been about money. The only thing that is not about money was canceling football teams because we had a global pandemic. We lost money on that. You lost ticket sales. You lost concession revenue. You lost games that were being played. You lost money on COVID. But barring a global pandemic, every decision that is made is about money. Coaching buyouts, facilities races, NIL, conference realignment, television contracts, everything is about money. And the biggest pot of money exists when the Big Ten and the SEC join hands and go, hey, television, what you got? They're strong without each other. They're the strongest with each other. So that's going to happen eventually. And to some people, that is just disgraceful that LSU would be playing Purdue and Penn State and UCLA instead of Ole Miss and Auburn and Alabama. Money. Money didn't matter that much in 1963. It does now. It makes all the decisions. So that's where this thing is absolutely headed. If you want to read more about it, go follow Ross on Twitter, which I'm sure you all already do, at Ross Dellinger. And you can read all about all the goings on in college football that are not necessarily X's and O's related. Conference realignment, rule book changes because of Dan Lanning, and then obviously the television contracts that will happen at some point here in the future. We'll step aside. Back. It is time for some SEC football power rankings. We'll do that next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Evolve Physical Therapy. EvolvePT.com is the website. If you're in pain, that's not fun. Those of you that are in pain that want to get back to being your active selves, I get it. Want to get back to working out daily. You want to get back on the golf course on the weekends. You want to get back to playing pickleball or playing with your grandkids. You want to get back out on the youth sports field. No matter your age, if you're an active person and you're dealing with pain, Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports is there for you. It's going to be a hands-on experience. They're going to do soft tissue manipulation, dry needling, cupping, scraping. All that can be done by Robbie Bolton and his team, and you're going to be interacting and working with one of their physical therapists the entirety of your trip there. They've got the highest end in technology over at Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports. They can do isokinetic testing to measure your strength returning. Go check them out, especially if you've had a bad physical therapy experience. They're on Starring near Highland Road. You can check them out online, evolvept.com. It's Evolve Physical Therapy and Sports, evolvept.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
There's an old saying, when it rains, it pours. We are so far beyond pouring on the New Orleans Saints. Adam Schefter with a report. Rashid Shaheed will have meniscus surgery on Thursday. That'll determine whether or not he will be sidelined for multiple weeks or for the rest of the season. There are 2 different repairs there. One's a recovery of 4 to 6 months. The other's 4 to 6 weeks. Just depends on what the result of that surgery is. Chris Olave is not going to play with a concussion. Derek Carr is out with an abdomen injury. Taysom Hill was not spotted today at practice. Apparently. He's doubtful for the game. Look, man, I don't know what to tell you. Let me go at it from 2 different angles. The first angle is this. I told you 3 weeks ago, I'm tired of talking about injuries. Everybody's hurt. The Eagles didn't have any wide receivers when they showed up. All the Chiefs pass catchers were gone. You've got the Falcons team missing 2 offensive linemen when you played them as well. Everybody's got multiple injuries. Everybody's got them at one spot. It's just the nature of the NFL. It is what it is. And then you get to a certain point where it's just not realistic for me to expect a coaching staff to have a team prepared to play. I cannot expect Clint Kubiak to wave a magic wand and take a team with no Eric McCoy and no Cesar Ruiz and no Derek Carr and no Rashid Shaheed and no Chris Olave and no Taysom Hill. That is 6 starters. That is 6 starters. I cannot, in good conscience, feel like Clint Kubiak is supposed to go out there against the Denver Broncos and put up 28 points without those guys. That is part 1 of this thought. Part 2 of the thought is you entered this season without quality depth at wide receiver. You did not have enough NFL caliber wide receivers on your roster. Cedric Wilson is a journeyman. Equinemius St. Brown, Bub Means. Obviously, you did not have enough good wide receivers. And so when you looked at the potential of Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave, you're like, that's pretty good. But after that, it was crap. You cut A.T. Perry. They missed on some draft picks. They haven't signed some great players in free agency. And you probably could go out and sign some players in free agency if you had any salary cap room whatsoever. But you don't. So you don't. And you sign bargain bin guys off the street and hope you stay healthy. And for 2 years in a row, you haven't stayed healthy, and your roster's in shambles. The defense wasn't that hurt on Sunday, and they still gave up 50. You want to take away the defensive touchdown? Mid-40s. But I don't feel like I'm contradicting myself when I say the Saints didn't do a good enough job in terms of assembling the roster, and 2, these breaks are more than any team I think could handle. I don't think I could go to any team in the NFL, take their starting center, starting right guard, starting quarterback, starting tight end, best 2 wide receivers off the field and say, all right, go get them.
Also, left guard, too. Lucas Patrick started left guard in the first week.
I just don't think that's realistic. Not to mention, Kamara had broken ribs, and you've got Penning and Fuaga at tackle who are young players. It's a tough spot, man. I feel for those of you who are Saints fans, the swell in emotion from what we were looking at after week 2 to what we're looking at now it's almost hard to fathom. I mean, we've watched it, so we know how we got there. But, like, to go from the toast of the league to a complete and utter dumpster fire is tough to do in a month. And the Saints have absolutely pulled it off, some because of their own fault, some because of just rotten luck. And so it is what it is. If you're just jumping in and missing what we were talking about there at the top. Rashid Shaheed, meniscus surgery tomorrow. Expected to determine whether he'll be sidelined for multiple weeks or for the rest of the season. If we learn anything new, we'll certainly let you know. Ross Jackson's all over to LouisianaSports.net. He's got a practice attendance report up. He's got a story up on Rashid Shaheed as well. So if you go over to LouisianaSports.net, you can read up on all of that. All right, let's do some SEC football power rankings. Beck, let's rock.
Hunt's SEC Power Rankings.
Texas A&M!
Nope.
That's the wrong button. I promise you I didn't put them first.
The Texas Longhorns.
Texas Longhorns are first. They physically mauled Michigan and Oklahoma. They're just a bigger, badder team than those two. Quinn Ewers needs a little bit more rhythm than what he was in the first half in Dallas, but they're really, really good. Number 2.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
I don't know what that was on defense. They got 31 points to Mississippi State. That's not any good, but Carson Beck's throwing it around a little bit. I think that Georgia's defense is not what it has been. I think that's pretty evident based on the first half against Alabama and what we saw against Mississippi State, but I still think Georgia's really, really good. I'm going to be hesitant to lay those points with Texas when we get to Friday's picks. I think Georgia's excellent, and this is where I think there is a delineating line between those two and the rest of the conference. We got a number 3.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Yes, I'm well aware that Bama beat Georgia. I also think that Georgia's better than Bama, and I think there's a line of delineation there. But Bama is number 13 in the SEC in total defense. That's shocking to me. Now, they're better than that in terms of yards per play. They're just on defense for a lot more plays. They're on defense for a lot of time of possession. They're not getting the requisite stops, so we'll see what they can do against a bad Tennessee offense right now. But Bama, I've got it number 3. Number 4.
The LSU Tigers.
All right. Y'all like that? Is that okay with everybody if I put LSU at number 4? That's up 2 spots. They are getting better. That defense is getting better, and this team has an identity. They can throw the ball. They protect the passer really well. They rush the passer really well. They get back there and create some tackles for loss in the backfield. They're playing better. I got them at 4. Number 5. Texas A&M! There the Aggies. I've got them up 2 spots to number 5 this week, and they didn't play last week. Why? Teams backed up behind them. Look, that was a demolition of Missouri. They handled their business against Arkansas. They went to the swamp and dominated. I don't think they're awesome, but they're good. They're number 5. Number 6.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Backed up just 1 spot. I said this when we talked to JD in the first hour. I think Ole Miss is good. I don't know if Lane Kiffin can keep those mercenaries together to be committed to playing for Ole Miss after they just took the check and they're not going to potentially make the playoffs. But that defensive front is good. Their run defense is good. And I think Jackson Dart's pretty good. Would have liked to have Trey Harris in the second half of that game. He didn't. I think the Rebels are still pretty good. I got them at number 5.
6. The Tennessee Volunteers.
Here's number 7, Tennessee. They win a game against Florida and back up 3 spots. I just can't deal with his offense right now. Their statistics say they're scoring 42 points per game for the season, which is true. But they scored 69 on Chattanooga, 51 on NC State, and 71 on Kent State. Then they got into SEC play, 25 at Oklahoma, 14 at Arkansas, 17 against Florida. That's not very good. They got to figure something out on offense this weekend against Alabama. The ball's at 7.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Number 8, Beck.
We're doing things here, Hunt.
Amazing work. Moves. You are now officially in the top half of the Southeastern Conference. What an effort. Coach Lee, what do you have to say to Coach Lee?
Well, what I have to say to him is congratulations on winning SEC Coach of the Year. You've already won that award. It's over.
How about Coach Sark?
Nope.
What about Coach Kelly?
Hunt.
Coach Elko.
How many times have we talked about the fact that it's almost nigh impossible to win football games, SEC football games at Vanderbilt? He's doing it right now.
They're playing solid football. Vanderbilt at number 8. Number 9.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
That's LSU's opponent this week. Razorbacks are a little schizophrenic. I didn't move them here. They're coming off a bye week. I don't know what Taylon Green's status is. I like their defense. I like the defensive coordinator. Petrino's got them statistically looking good on offense. We'll see on Saturday night in Fayetteville.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
I moved South Carolina up from 13 to 10 this week. I don't know why. I can't figure out Kentucky and South Carolina. These are my problem children at this point. Carolina looks like they can rush the passer one day. They look like they can run the ball one day. They look awful the next day. They look terrible against Ole Miss. Looked great against Kentucky. Looked schizophrenic against LSU. Then they go to Tuscaloosa. They look, I don't know. I got them at 10. They're up 3 spots. They lost the game. I don't know what to do.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
They backed up 3 spots. They are terrible on offense. Worst total offense in the SEC. They scored 3 points on Texas. They looked completely out of sorts and manhandled. They're playing a true freshman at quarterback. Their defense might be good. It might not be good. Their offense is terrible. I moved them back to number 11. That's Oklahoma. Number 12.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Again, I don't know what to do here. Vandergrift's throwing it all over Ole Miss. Then they can't score in a given week. They get beat by Vanderbilt. I don't know what to do with Kentucky. I moved them back 1 spot to 12. I do think they have some good characteristics, specifically the defensive line, and the teams after this have some real issues everywhere, but I got Kentucky at 12, sure.
The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri backs up a spot. Look, you should have lost to Vanderbilt. You got embarrassed by Texas A&M. You go to UMass. I'm not watching that game. I don't care what you do to UMass. 17,000 in capacity. You shouldn't be playing that game. I think Missouri's bad. They're 13.
The Florida Gators.
Okay, nice effort in Knoxville. Bad news, Graham Mertz out for the year. DJ Lagway is going to take it the rest of the way. And now you're going to get into the meat of this schedule. Like, you just played Tennessee. You still got to play Georgia and Texas before LSU comes to town. Like, I don't think Florida's very good. I got them at 14.
The Auburn Tigers.
No moving up here for the Auburn Tigers. Bad issues at quarterback, bad turnover problems, and they don't beat anybody. And when you don't beat anybody, you generally tend to remain towards the bottom of the barrel, and that's where they've stayed. The bottom 3 are the same. Florida 14, Auburn 15, and number 16.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Bad football team. Nice job going to Georgia and scoring a bunch of points, but you gave up a bunch of points too. I don't see Mississippi State moving out of the cellar this year. That seems to be their destiny for the 2024 season until Jeff Levy can go recruit some players. But I've got Mississippi State at number 16. So we'll run through them once again. At the top, Texas number 1, Georgia number 2. Got Bama at 3. The LSU Tigers move up 2 spots to number 4. A&M also moves up 2 spots. They are number 5. Ole Miss backs up to 6. Tennessee backs way up to number 7. Vanderbilt enters the top half of the league at number 8. Arkansas, who's LSU's opponent this week, is at number 9. South Carolina moves up after losing, to number 10. Oklahoma backs up 3 spots to number 11. Number 12 is Kentucky. Number 13 is Missouri, and the bottom 3 are the same. Florida at 14, Auburn at 15. That's still weird that those 2 programs are at the bottom of the league. And number 16, Mississippi State. What do we think, Beck?
I like it. Obviously, like I said, Vandy at 8 is great. It's a really good spot for them.
Is that their high water mark for the year?
I'm going to say no, just because.
You think they're going to get to 7 or 6?
I think they can get to 7. I think so because
Chris Marler of LouisianaSports.net, Vern Dumquist on Twitter, put Vanderbilt at 4 this week.
Yeah,
he needs a full psychiatric evaluation.
That's a bit. That's a bit much.
Brain scan, brain dye, the whole thing. They got to figure out what's going. They're not 4th.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, but.
I called him out via text message in our group text for LouisianaSports.net, and he responded in all caps, "Let them live." I'm letting them live. They're not in the top 4. I don't know how long I'll be walking this earth. They'll never be top 4.
No, Vanderbilt at 8 is very respectable. I do think they can move up because Tennessee has looked very, very, very suspect
stinks
these last few weeks. And, I mean, they got a tough one coming up on Saturday, and if Vandy wins.
Here's a better question. Is LSU's high water mark number 4?
I will say no. Because when if they take care of business,
they're going to have to win their next 3.
Yeah, if they do, then they move up. Obviously,
if they win their next 3, they might move up to 2. Depends on what Georgia and Texas do this week. Yeah. But that seems. I don't love the odds of them winning the next 3. I just need them to win 2.
Yep,
that's what I'm just going to operate under the guise that 10-2 is good enough until it's proven it's not. That's the guys I'm going to operate under. So we shall see, I guess. That's your SEC Power Rankings for this week. Take a time out, come back and close it out. Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
LeBear's Baton Rouge. Got to make it your game day headquarters, and game day this week is Thursday for the Saints and the Broncos. I'm going to be inside ESPN Bet at LeBear's, hanging out, watching Saints-Broncos. Also going to have an eye on the MLB playoffs. There's blackjack right there. It's an incredible game-watching environment for Thursday Night Football, and I will be there. Very much invite you to come out. We'll start at about 6 o'clock, be there through the end of the ball game, so would love to see you out there. And always tell you, download that Cover 5 app. Download the Cover 5 app, go to the SEC contest, and enter the code LABRSEC24. Had a bounce-back week personally last week. You pick the games against the spread. You get points based on how much your team covers by. You can have big weeks. You can also have terrible weeks like I did 2 weeks ago, and that knocked me way back. There are weekly prizes available. There are season-long prizes available. Download that Cover 5 app. Put in the promo code LABRSEC24. Compete against me and dozens of other listeners here at ESPN Baton Rouge. If you're not a member, get the Penn Play app today. LeBear's Baton Rouge, your live sports headquarters. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966 for help.
When it comes to ending cancer, we push forward, always working together for you. That's why our cancer experts at Ochsner have clinically integrated with MD Anderson Cancer Center. This means advanced cancer care, including access to life-saving clinical trials and integrating care to treat the whole you. Introducing Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center. Long live you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Saban office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Saban have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show with former Texas A&M Yell leader, Hunt Palmer. Giga Maggies.
If you're just joining us, jumping in the car to go get the kiddos at carpool, whatever the case may be, big news of the day, Rashid Shaheed out for Thursday's game and out for sure multiple weeks, perhaps the entire season, as he's got a meniscus injury that's going to require surgery tomorrow. When they do the surgery, they'll determine whether or not he misses 3 to 4 weeks or the rest of the season. Chris Olave out with a concussion. Obviously, Derek Carr not going to play. The Saints really up against it for tomorrow against the Denver Broncos on Thursday Night Football. We'll certainly break it down on tomorrow's show, and Matt will have much, much more coming up on After Further Review from 3 to 6. So just a tough spot for the New Orleans Saints. But I do want to invite you out to see me at LeBear's tomorrow, ESPN Bet. We're going to be watching the Saints game, watching some baseball. Should be a good time out at LeBear's tomorrow. So excited to get out there on a Thursday night for Saints and some Major League playoffs. All right, take it or leave it.
All righty, first one here. Scotty Scheffler recently on a golf podcast said that he'll probably choose the same menu from his first Masters win for the Champions Dinner at next year's tournament. Running it back, take it or leave it.
Leave it. That's pitiful.
Yeah, that's tough.
I mean, you've got so long to consider what you'd like to serve, and you've got this incredible staff in the kitchen at Augusta to make it happen for you. Just think of some other things. I remember last time everyone kind of got on Scotty because it looked like an Applebee's menu. It was like cheeseburger sliders and
ribeye
steak and mashed potatoes and like the whole. It just looked like one of those like deals
chocolate
you would
chip
see.
skillet.
Yeah, chocolate chip cookie skillet. It looked like a Chili's Applebee's type thing. And hey, if that's what you want, that's great. All that stuff sounds good to me. But like, just mix it up a little bit. Go with Speed did barbecue.
Yeah.
Just do some barbecue. That's fine. Steak's good as well. But like, come up with some other sides. Get a little creative. Although this is not surprising.
No, it's
because
not.
Scotty doesn't, to me, seem like the guy who's just going to spend a lot of time on that. He just doesn't care about much stuff like that. So I think if he had it his way, I mean, he'd probably just serve Chipotle at the thing.
Yeah. I think so. It seems like he certainly cares more about how his driver dispersion as opposed to what's going to be on the menu for dinner.
The point is, like, it's in April and we're in October. Just you and Meredith sit down and
brainstorm it.
Give it an hour. Just give it 1 hour. Yeah, it's fun. You just think about things you love to eat. And like Augusta apparently doesn't even have a menu in the clubhouse. You just tell the kitchen staff what you want. Like, that's what you're working with here. So like, just get creative. Have them do something fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's my thoughts as well. Next one here. Lay's chips are bringing back some of their more unique flavors that they've had over time here, including chicken and waffles, fried green tomato, cheesy garlic bread, southern biscuits, which I found interesting, and gravy, and southern biscuits and gravy, and crispy taco. Take it or leave it.
In totality, I'm going to leave it.
Well, I'm leaving all of them, and I'm going to tell you why, Hunt.
Please tell me why.
If you can make a potato chip taste literally just like a meal or a type of food, there's something going on there that just is not natural.
Yeah,
I'm not going to partake in that.
I mean, like, cheesy garlic bread doesn't sound bad
on
a chip because that kind of works.
Yeah.
Biscuits and gravy is a
that's
little
tough.
much.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, chicken and waffles is a fantastic meal. I'm not eating fried green tomatoes because I don't eat tomatoes. But
fried green tomatoes are good, Hunt.
I'm not going to eat that.
Okay.
But I don't really need this. I'm not a chip connoisseur per se. I would say probably once a month I grab a bag of Cheetos, which I did yesterday from the vending machine downstairs.
Okay.
That's a nice little treat there on a random Tuesday, just trying to get through the day. But I'm not trying to go nuts on chip flavors. Like, if I'm gonna get like a bag of chips, like, it's probably gonna be sour cream and onion, like cheddar and sour cream, or like plain. Like,
yep.
I like plain Pringles or plain Ruffles or plain Zaps, but I don't need biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not interested in that, especially not southern biscuits and gravy doesn't sound very appetizing to me on a potato chip flavor. But all right, last one here. The Yankees beat the Guardians. Take a 2-0 series lead yesterday. The Bronx Bombers are going back to the World Series. Take it or leave it.
I'm going to take it. I think they are. I'll take it. The Guardians are good. They're not great. And I think the Yankees potentially could be great. If the Yankees win, Major League Baseball is in absolute heaven, because then at that point you've got Yankees and Dodgers, which are your two markets, or you've got Yankees and Mets, which is going to make that town explode. So, I think that is going to happen. I think Major League Baseball gets it their way. And there are a lot of people that hate the Yankees. I am not. They're not in my league or my division. I don't really care. They don't have a lot of those old guys that were part of that dynasty that rubbed people the wrong way because they were winning all the time. I like watching Aaron Judge hit. That's pretty good. And DJ's there. So I'm not too concerned with it. There are no NL Central teams left. The White Sox are not left. I don't care who wins, so I'm good with the Yanks back in the World Series.
Even obviously MLB probably would. There's no question they want the Yankees as opposed to the Guardians in the World Series.
Yes.
However, if it's the Yankees, the Dodgers or the Mets, either way, that's a really great storyline. I mean, you got the Yankees and Mets who, the Yankees and the Dodgers.
The Subway Series.
Yeah, the Subway Series with Yankees and Mets, and then of course Yankees-Dodgers, a classic rivalry. From
I don't
past
really remember
time,
that Clemens Piazza Subway Series. I don't remember watching a lot of that. Obviously, you've seen the video now when Clemens throws the bat back, but I don't remember a lot of that. I would be into that.
That would be good, yeah.
There's some drama and intrigue there. I love these baseball playoffs. I'm watching every night. I'm glued to it. I think it's awesome. I did switch over to the Bengals game on Sunday because baseball got out of hand. The Dodgers just took control, but I'm in. I think these baseball playoffs are fantastic, so I will certainly be locked into that coming up this evening. That's it for our Wednesday show. Open things up. Talking about the Arkansas rivalry and what LSU fans feel about it, what the program may feel about it, and what the results actually have borne out. And you really need to care. Coming up on Saturday. If you want to hear that, you can catch it on YouTube at Hunt on LSU. JD PicKell talking National College Football at 1:15. It was a What If Wednesday. Cody Rourke from Locked On Broncos with us to preview tomorrow night's game in the Dome. The SEC and Big Ten are going to combine schedules. What does that mean for college football? And then my SEC Power Rankings. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand. 1045ESPN.com's on demand tab, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google. Wherever you find your sound, you can find us. Matt's coming up to drive you home on AFR. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place on The Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. Check out their inventory online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. When you think Genesis, you should think luxury. It's a luxury vehicle. It's a luxury experience. How about this? When you purchase a new Genesis from the Genesis of Baton Rouge dealership, you're going to get a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. You're also going to get 3 years of complimentary maintenance. And that's not just drive in and get them to work on your car, complimentary services. It's valet complimentary maintenance. So you drive to work, you call up the dealership and say, hey, y'all come get my car, handle the oil change, handle the wipers, handle the cabin air filter. I'm going to be getting things done. They'll bring you a car while you're working. They'll do the maintenance on your car, bring it right back. That's the type of experience you're talking about with a Genesis. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, just give Genesis a shot. They're on Airline near Piku. You can check out the entire inventory online, as I told you, at genesisofbatonrouge.com. That is genesisofbatonrouge.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed